Joining me on GCS today is Steven Loudon. He is a seventh grade math teacher at WC Friday Middle School and the current Gaston County Teacher of the Year. Steven, it's good to see you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so what was it like to be named the Gaston County Teacher of the Year?
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, it was a great honor and a privilege to be named the Gaston County Teacher of the Year. It still feels a little surreal, and overwhelming. It's like that night you're just like, whoa, you're the Teacher of the Year for the upcoming school year. You have a lot of responsibilities and expectations. And then when you think about it, you think of all the great teachers that are in our district. You're just kind of like, well, why me? You just wonder, okay, now that you've picked me, it's an honor to get to represent those great teachers, to be among them, to work side by side with them and be their spokesperson in a way and be the one to represent is all.
Well, tell us about Steven Loudon. What led you into education, and how or when did you know that education was the right career for you?
Right. Well, before education, I was already involved with a lot of programs that involved working with youth. And I graduated from college and I didn't have a traditional teaching degree. And I just started working, like at a car dealership, just moving cars around. And then I worked a little bit in construction and I just didn't feel my place was there. And then eventually I got a job as a teacher. And it seemed like that was the right fit for me, being involved with youth and being able to teach and guide and mentor them. And then wasn't a few months after that, I decided this is for me. And I went and got my teaching license and the rest just fell into place.
So let's go inside your classroom. What do you bring as the teacher to your seventh grade math classroom?
Well, I like to believe that I bring just a certain level of expertise to the classroom. Originally I was an elementary school teacher and then I switched to middle school. And I spent the first couple of years just becoming an expert in the content and how it is learned, how do the students learn the math. And I do believe that my experience as an elementary teacher with the students gave me insights on how students understand math and how it's developed. And teaching the seventh graders how to have a concrete understanding. My goal for the students each year is that they grow and they're better because they were in my class. I want them to all to know that they are in the best class ever with a teacher who is credible and cares for them and cares about their learning experience. If you ask my students what they thought of me, first of all, that's middle school students. So I'm sure some will say he's boring and the other ones say he's the best, but most of them probably say, yeah, he's okay. That's just middle school students for you. But I do know that deep down, they enjoy being in my classroom. Many of them come to me years later and say that I still remember that class. So I'm very appreciative of that.
What would you say is a goal for your students?
Yeah, I tell each student that in my classroom, they are going to have growth, from wherever they begin, that they will come out being a better math student, a better student, and, finding that starting point and saying, okay, where are we going to go? What are we going to learn? And, when they finish the class, their goal is that they've made great gains more than a typical seventh grade student would anywhere else.
So you have served as a teacher, an assistant principal, a central level curriculum facilitator. So you bring a lot of work experience outside the classroom. How does that enhance your work inside the classroom?
Yeah, so working in all those different positions, they gave me an experience and actually almost an advantage in my own classroom. I've been able to step into many different classrooms and assist teachers, work with teachers. And while I'm doing that, I'm also picking up things. I'm learning from them and the things that I've seen, their lessons, their activities. As an administrator, working with students in different areas of their life besides the classroom, you learn how to just to build the right relationship, a positive relationship, and be able to reach out and, students, I think, feel in my classroom that I understand, more than just the classroom. I understand, I bring more to the table for them. With the other teachers, I often become their go-to person because they feel that I've had experiences outside the classroom and they can always ask me, so when you were and then I can answer that kind of question for them. And I find it's very helpful. I think the parents even also appreciate that I've had other experiences also, and I can relate with them in many ways.
And I think it allows you to see how everything fits together.
Yeah, it's you realize that the school is not just within my four walls of my classroom. That when you open that door, there's a lot more happening, and there's different pieces, and it does help. You don't get, I don't want to say you don't get like frustrated with things as easily because this is happening for a reason, which is outside my control, and I have to, and I just have that understanding. This is why we're doing these certain things. It's not just for my particular classroom, but it's for the whole school in general.
Okay, so I understand that you met Katy Perry.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting story. I met Katy Perry, believe it or not, at a small Christian college in Iowa. Okay, and this was, it sounds strange. What is she doing there? This extremely famous singer. But interesting enough, I met her before she was Katy Perry. She originally, her name was Katie Hudson, and she was a Christian singer. And she was actually an opening act for a different artist, another popular artist. And so I was at the concert. I was actually a volunteer selling the CDs and all of the stuff for the artist. And she would just, was just hanging out back there talking with me and some other people. And I think, very interesting. I think I may have made a joke about her purse, and maybe that's why she decided to change her path. I don't know. But I did feel sorry for her. Nobody was buying her CD, so I bought one. I think I even may have had her autograph it. Unfortunately, I don't think I kept the CD, so I don't have that anymore. I didn't know what she was gonna that today she would be a world famous singer. So
Had you only known that Katie Hudson would become Katy Perry, you would have held on to that autographed CD for sure.
that's right. I got a picture with the other musician. I would have gotten a picture with her at least. So
Well, I knew you had shared that story with me previously, so I wanted to talk a little bit about
yeah.
that. You knew Katy Perry before she was Katy Perry, so okay. Let's talk about some of as the Gaston County Teacher of the Year. What advice or words of motivation do you have for your colleagues there at WC Friday and for all teachers across Gaston County?
Well, after teaching virtually during a pandemic, teaching with two different cohorts, teaching with the masks and the quarantines, you would think that this year would just be a breeze and would be extremely easy. But teaching's difficult, and this year is still difficult for many teachers. We're living in some difficult times still. There's a lot going on in the classrooms and many pressures from the outside world. But the one thing I would say to encourage them is just think for a few minutes, just pause and think about what you enjoy about your job. What do you enjoy about teaching? What are those little things that bring you a smile? Oftentimes it is the students, and appreciate them, appreciate the work you get to do with them. Focus on that. It's a practice that I've been doing. I've been reminding myself, listen, I don't need to be stressed about things. I don't need to be overly anxious, but rather enjoy this day. Enjoy the day in the classroom. Just I see a student, I just think of that student, the relationship that he has with his family, with his other teachers, with his other classmates. And I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunities that you get to be a part of that. And don't stress about it. You can't control everything. But you can be a positive role model. You can instruct, you can, mentor others, and just be thankful for these opportunities. The small impact that you make. Just smile more.
I think that is good advice. Keep your focus on your students.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. Just remember that, what's beyond your control in the world, but you have students who need you, and be appreciative of that.
Well, Stephen, I just wanted to congratulate you again on being the Gaston County Teacher of the Year. It is well deserved. I know it is an honor, but it is well deserved for you, and we appreciate everything that you do for your students at WC Friday. And we feel like that you are a role model for other teachers in Gaston County.
Well, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you.
Steven Loudon is our Gaston County Teacher of the Year from WC Friday Middle School. Steven, we appreciate you taking time to be with us here today on GCS Today.
Thank you so much.